Hi, my name's Sean Thompson. I'm part of the technical services team at Crown Paints. My speciality is the Sadolin woodcare range. We're now going to show you a short clip on how preparation is everything. We're here to explain how to prepare timber ready for decorating. It's very important to make sure that wood is actually prepared properly, because the timber itself, whilst it may look clean, isn't actually clean or necessarily prepared suitably to ensure that the coatings that are going to be applied to it will actually last, adhere properly, and thus give you the durability that you desire. The important thing when you've got a bare piece of timber, whilst this may look clean, it might look ready to actually go, there are some basics that we do recommend to actually do first. Now, the main thing to do is to actually sand down the surface. A very light abrasion is recommended. Sandpaper is ideal. A P180 or a P240 is great. We'll use the sandpaper in this particular case. So up and down with the grain. The reason why we don't want to go across is that we don't want to start leaving marks that are potentially visible when you put on a translucent wood stain especially. Just make sure that you get rid of any imperfections on the surface, but also prepares the surface so that it's got an ideal key, so that if it's too smooth prior to coating, you've sorted that out. The next thing that you need to do, which does get forgotten a lot of the time, is actually dusting off. Again, this may look clean, but there is a lot of dust. You can use a tack rag by all means. We prefer to use a brush. The important thing is to make sure that you go across the grain and down. Now this may seem time consuming, but believe me, you will get a better finish, and you're making sure that the coatings do adhere to the surface, not to the dust. The final thing is to actually degrease or clean the surface. Irrespective of the timber, whether it's a softwood or a hardwood, we recommend that you clean down with methylated spirits using a clean, lint-free cloth. I'll just put some gloves on. Now people ask us what's the necessity of actually degreasing. When you've got timbers, especially like teak, idigbo, oak, they contain very high oil contents, or they may contain very high extractive contents. And you want to make sure that that dirt and grime is removed from the surface prior to coating. Otherwise that could cause a problem with adhesion. So we'll put some methylated spirits onto the cloth, and then we give this a wipe down. The important thing is that you rotate the cloth around. Now hopefully you can see there the amount of grime that comes off the surface. So that's even though we've dusted that off and we're dealing with a brand new clean piece of timber. The reason why we don't recommend white spirit, whilst it's fine for cleaning out brushes when you're using a solvent-based system, is that just like when you clean your hands afterwards, you get that horrible greasy residue, and you don't want that left on the timber. So methylated spirits every time. As you can see, that's nearly flashed off now. You're now left with a situation where your timber is now ready for decorating. Now we want to cover something whereby if you've got a previous coating system and you're just wanting to apply maintenance. So here we've got a translucent and we've got an opaque system. If we know that it's a previous Sadolin system, they are designed to naturally erode. So all that would be required, as long as the surface was in good order, will be a simple clean down with a warm water with a mild detergent and a rinse off with clean water. Once that's then dry, that is then ready for decorating. If you've got a system that's in poor order, as you can see here, really what we need to consider is this good enough to put an opaque system over the top? Obviously, if we want to put another translucent system over the top of that, we're going to have to remove everything and start again. So we want to get back to clean, dry, sound, bright timber. So what would need to be done there, maybe with a combination of scraper, sandpaper, might need a chemical stripper, or obviously in a lot of cases you're going to need to use a mechanical sander in order to get rid of that and basically get back to square one, and then you'll be treating it as if it's bare new timber. Just a final couple of tips. Once you actually get to the decorating side of things, we recommend the use of a quality synthetic brush. You can use a natural bristle brush with solvent-based items, water-based items ideally with a synthetic brush, but a quality synthetic brush for both types of products are ideal. As far as stirring a product is concerned, there's two types of stirring sticks. These types of stirring sticks, whereby they're broad-bladed, flat, and as you can see this one here has got holes in, are ideal for stirring wood stains especially. Things like chopsticks, spoons, anything like that, please don't use them. That causes more problems than it care to mention. The idea is just like a cake mixture. The process of you stirring the product in the can, you're actually lifting all the ingredients through so that when you come to decorate, you are going to be guaranteed a nice even finish. Most timber is actually supplied pre-treated, so your timber windows, timber joinery, that's already going to have a pre-preservative treatment actually applied and within it. However, if you've got a situation whereby timber's been cut and you've got an end grain or an end piece of timber that's actually exposed without any preservative treatment, or you've got a non-durable timber, or you're concerned about the fact that the timber needs to have a preservative treatment, then we have got systems within the Sadolin range that can help, both waterborne and solvent based. With a piece of timber, the face grain is always the bit that you're going to be looking at, but your most exposed, vulnerable part is going to be the end grain here. So it's particularly important that if you're applying preservative, make sure that you saturate the end of that. Put on the full system as well. This particular piece of timber here, this is a decking piece. It's got the green tanlith pre-preserved treatment that's actually been pressure treated into the timber. However, if you were to cut that board in half, that would be an exposed area. Ideally, that should have some preservative treatment brush applied onto that to help extend the life of that particular piece of timber. The preservative is preventing rot, decay, fungal infestation. We've got three systems within the Sadolin range. We've got a water-based system which is called Sadolin Quick Drying Wood Preserver, and we've got two solvent-based systems, Sadolin Wood Preserver and Sadolin Ultimate Wood Preserver. Basically, the rule of thumb I would recommend to you is that if you've got any concerns about a preservative, by all means put it on. You can't hurt the timber irrespective of whether it's a non-durable or durable timber, but it must only be put onto bare timber. If you've got a situation whereby you're applying top coats and those top coats are water-based, then it's best to use a water-based preservative. If your top coat is going to be solvent-based, then it's best to use a solvent-based preservative to avoid any confusion. If we've got a situation that we've got some minor repairs that need to be made on the timber, we've got a few systems within the Sadolin range. We've got Sadolin wood filler and Sadolin stainable wood filler. If we've got nail holes or little indentations within the timber, the stopper filler, which is Sadolin wood filler, can be used just to fill in the small repairs here. The key is to pick the colour that complements the colour of the timber, or if that had a wood stain on it, pick the colour that matches the wood stain. So i.e. if that was mahogany, pick the mahogany colour. If you've got a medium sized repair, then we've got a system called Sadolin stainable wood filler. And what you do is you basically mask off the area. It's a 2-pack filler. You apply the system. The use of the masking tape allows the actual filler to be slightly proud, so that when you then sand it down, you then get this effect whereby it's actually flush with the timber. The actual stainable wood filler does contain wood pulp, so that will help match in when you're actually applying a wood stain or a wood dye, and therefore it will hopefully even everything out. If we follow all those procedures that we've covered, the situation should be that you've got a clean surface that's properly prepared, any repairs have been made, and then you are giving the coatings that are going to be applied to that surface the maximum opportunity to bond well and thus perform. If we don't do this and we cut corners on the preparation, and as always, you've probably heard the term, it's always 80% of the job, then what you could potentially suffer is a situation whereby the coatings will fail prematurely. This is what we want to avoid. These systems are designed to actually avoid peeling or flaking, but it is reliant on the fact that they are put onto a clean, sound, dry surface. If you don't do that, peeling, flaking can occur. Obviously, if that starts to occur, moisture will get in. That could actually lead to a lot more damage to the timber than what everybody wants. It also leads to increased maintenance times and a lot of cost. This is what we want to avoid. If everything's done right, we've got a very, very simple maintenance regime whereby the coatings perform, they naturally erode and weather, and then what we should do is just literally give them a nice quick clean and reapply another coat. That's it, and we get in this cycle for every 4, 5, 6, 7 years, depending on what system that you're actually using. So following those key points, that will allow you to create the best possible surface for our coatings to adhere to and then perform, giving you the durability that you want.